My presentation is about the work of 5 contemporary artists from Karachi. Karachi's lineage can be traced back to the ancient times with its identification with Kurkala of Alexander the Great of Macedonia. The 19th century historian Henry Elliot believed that Karachi's ancient Babel, which was attacked in 711 by Muhammad bin Qasim. Initially a fishing village, Karachi had developed into a thriving metropolis by the beginning of the 19th century. With the declaration of independence from British rule in 1947, Karachi's population grew as it absorbed a large number of people fleeing from India. Karachi grew phenomenally as the capital of a newly established country, and its present population is estimated to be 13 million. Traditionally a city of migrants, Karachi still draws people from all parts of the country, and its workforce consists of people from a mixture of regions. Contemporary art in Karachi offers an interesting array of concerns that encompasses approaches from the traditional to the recent. The military dictatorship of the 80s saw artists challenge the political conditions overtly in their work. In defiance of the oppressive conditions, a number of women protested through dance, theatre, and art, even though it was in small pockets and not in direct confrontation with the military regime. This turn paradoxically proved to be one that saw theatre grow immensely. Interestingly enough, the political situation also popularized the more regime-approved form of calligraphic art. The post-military era introduced to a new generation of artists issues away from direct political suppression, issues that were more optimistic, forward-looking, celebrating a city life which was characterized by a pulsating energy which arose from an accelerated urban growth and transition. Their work was also addressing concerns ranging from social, economical issues, sectarian strife, gender-based concerns, to more inward-looking personal narratives. The energetic, multifaceted culture of the city found presence in the work of artists who integrated its visual language to address a variety of concepts. The prominence of women artists in the present-day art scenario establishes, interestingly, that there are more women artists practicing today in Karachi compared to men. There is a heightened awareness of women's issues and a prominent presence of women in other fields of work like television, filmmaking, and reporting. While women artists engage with diverse ideas, this presentation brings forward the work of 5 contemporary artists from Karachi, whose work is seen in the context of gender-based concerns. While the selection of the group is based on personal choice, all these artists have seen their practice grow in the 90s, reflecting the transition that Karachi is going through. Naiza Khan's recent drawings of bodies, constructed with henna imprints, suggest ideas linked with identity and making the mark. The artist used ready-made henna motif stencils to transfer the henna paste in constructing these figures. The decorative element draws references to invitation, especially in the context of henna used by brides in weddings. Next, please. The absence of the idealized female form reclaims the female body from the male gaze. The drawings suggest parallel ideas of the hand symbol touching the body and its gesture suggesting a symbol of aggressiveness. Carefully crafted organza pieces, initiated as an exploration of the rhythm of an activity between 2 people who work together to create the fabric's texture. It is a representation of the direct relationship of 2 individuals who engage in a repetitive action that results in a visually stimulating surface. The subtle texture in her body in 4 parts is suggestive of a quieter rhythm that the artist sought to explore within herself. It invites viewers to experience that pace and draws comparisons between the outer and inner rhythms of the human being. Naiza's latex pieces draw references to the skin and its physicality as opposed to the soul and its immortality. There are suggestions that the skin is the purveyor of tactile sensations that make the body react to it in various ways. The text, which is often faintly visible through the latex, suggests the visual interpretation of the inaudible. The artist seeks to create the experience of words that cannot be heard. Perhaps the words suggest emotions that cannot be articulated, and hence the skin becomes a wall between the inside and the outside. Human figure drawings initially began as more of a continuation of the artist's practice. But these emotive drawings displaying strong draftsmanship are also about the artist questioning the place of these drawings in her work, as well as in relationship to the drawing of the nude in art history. They document the artist's struggle to re-evaluate the meaning of these drawings beyond the ideal. Boundless refers to the beginning of the moving point for the artist, where the figure appears bound, but also free of its previous history. The iconography used in Boundless and She Has Hands lend the work deeper meanings like restriction or loss of freedom. The iconography in Naiza's work, referring to skin, hair, stitching, fabric, henna, all alludes to various symbols that can be interpreted as personal narratives and, more broadly speaking, as dialogues within issues of female identity. Personal narratives around the woman's place in domestic and family situations emerge in Adila Suleiman's work in a different way. Adila's work subtly comments upon the role of the woman as a daughter, sister, then wife and daughter-in-law in the family. She speaks of shifting responsibilities and role-play that the woman encounters in each of these relationships. Tea becomes the conductor of the message, not only because it is such a vital part of our lives and our culture, but also because in the domestic situation, women are more often associated with it. The idea of serving good tea becomes a symbol of acceptability for a woman in a largely patriarchal setup. In Adila's work, tea is honored and venerated because it bestows the woman with acceptability. These ideas also link to the projection of women in advertising, reflecting stereotypes portrayed so often in the media. Associations such as the serving of tea to prospective in-laws find their way humorously in the form of cast aluminum trays that carry symbols created around the ceremony. The tea fountain becomes a shrine honoring tea but also celebrates the culture of the chai khana, which is also so essentially a part of daily life in the country. The entire space for the tea fountain in the center is decorated across the roof with used tea bags, alluding to the decoration of a bridal room with flowers. The dried tea bags are reminiscent of the dried flowers days after the wedding. Seeds attached to the wall are available to visitors who might want to make wishes in the tea fountain. These references are close to duas or prayers, also made at shrines. Adila's installation of meticulously woven bridal apparel from steel wool and wire mesh that is embellished with household objects like spoons not only brings the work into the realm of highly crafted objects, but draws references to the vocabulary of material a woman encounters in her domestic life. These beautiful yet cage-like wire fabrics are displayed in the same inviting manner as their counterparts would be in a bridal boutique. Yet, their beauty carries more ominous meaning, revealing the skeleton beneath the bridal costume and the promises it offers. The woman's place in the family and domestic setup is addressed by Huma Multi in her patterned paintings, Camouflage and Fishing Lessons. The floor pattern emerges as the device that refers to the home, and objects that interact with it define the family setup. The banana symbols embedded in both the paintings refer to the all-female siblings in the family and the bond they share. These also comment on the camouflaged existence of women in a patriarchal setup. Noah's paintings touch upon the tender narratives reminiscent of moments shared with siblings, gathering together at meals, sharing stories, laughing and crying together. These works speak of the individuality of the women as well as their shared strength in unity. The repetitive pattern speaks of a quiet rhythm that is reflected in other activities women share, like prayer, embroidery, or storytelling. In my own work, popular vocabulary addresses issues through the language of high and low art. Issues arise from responses to the social setup we live in and form connections to personal experiences. Lady's First Choice is a family portrait with a reinvented setting of a garishly decorated wedding stage. The roses on stage and sunset background speak about idealized beauty that promises an ideal future. Ornamentation and the honoring of objects by the use of decoration lend the work an idyllic and optimistic atmosphere as a means of escape from the volatile world we live in today. Another proposal makes references once again to staged settings, this time a photographer's studio, which presents reality in an enlarged way. Hence, the work recreates an unsatisfactory world by furnishing it with imagined alternatives. Personal ideas and childhood associations find expression within the same language. What's Marriage Got to Do with Chicken Patties is a piece that juxtaposes text from matrimonial classifieds with images of household objects that are often associated with a dowry. The form of this backlit piece with a ready-made computer-generated image suggests the vocabulary of commercial hoardings and remarks humorously at the bizarre and idiosyncratic culture of marriage. Journey from Home to Work forms the basis of Ruhi Ahmed's paintings. Using maps that are sanctioned by the establishment, Ruhi subverts them and reinvents them with personal mappings according to the statistics of violence in the city and the choices she might make based on those situations. In Karachi, Dekh Bhal Ke Jana, Ruhi draws warm and cold currents on a map that surveys the mood of the city from days of strife to those of normalcy. These routes become a record of her maneuvers through an unpredictable city. The map legend marks the level of discord in the city through phrases like Salana Hum Hussa to depict her survival in it based on these conditions. Karachi, Diya Jalai Rakhna depicts sea and air routes on a map that catalogues the exodus of the population from Karachi and Pakistan after the unsettled political conditions in the country. While the map marks the journeys and destinations of the people, there is also a sense of optimism that the community shares about the return to normalcy and the promise to return to ideal conditions. Karachi Mera Hi To Hai demarcates areas of Karachi according to the distribution of its community. In mapping her journey to work, Ruhi brings into account the political and social conditions that affect her life directly and the compromises she makes as a result of conditions offered to her as a citizen. She finds long routes to reach a vital destination that is so close to her life. In this work, which obliquely refers to a large male-dominated setup through which a woman encounters the city every day, Ruhi Ahmed intelligently raises serious concerns that are not close to many of us. In most of the works that we have seen today, the element of crafted surfaces or object making is strongly evident. Whether these works are born from intuitive responses to their personal surroundings or from the need to examine larger concerns, these women artists are continuing to further the dialogue within their own work by their subtle social commentary, by subverting stereotypes, and by questioning establishments and policies through their work. They have made their mark in their personal lives by asserting their voices and making alternative choices with determination and faith in their chosen field. and has succeeded in liberating not only themselves but other women as well.